Okay. Hello, everybody, and thanks a lot for logging into the Zoom and the webinar this morning. My business partner Matt brought in some chocolate donuts, so if I have chocolate on my face, let me know. Okay. Listen, I'm sure you guys are quarantined at home, and we just appreciate you taking a little bit of time this morning to go over what we feel is just an incredible opportunity and incredible product. And the timing, of course, is perfect. So let's just jump right into it. Empower Wealth. I accidentally hit the mute button. No, I'm good. Guys, Empower Wealth is a company that's just dedicated to helping the financial situation of a family, right? And most companies, whether it's an industry, a business or a church or a nonprofit, and certainly a family, improving your financial situation consists of two things. And everything, if you think about it, runs off of the bottom line, which is P&L, right? Profit and loss. And there's companies out there that help you with one or the other, typically. Right? Help get out of debt. I mean, people are struggling with debt, and that's probably just going to be getting worse over the next 90, 120 days, living on credit cards and unsecured debt. But on our platform is also increasing income. And that's actually what we're going to talk about today. Guys, I would recommend on the debt side next Wednesday at noon Mountain Time, we're going to go over the debt platform that shows how we get rid of unsecured debts like credit cards and student loans and hospital bills. And it's a pretty amazing platform. But today we're going to talk just about increasing income. And when you hear that, what do you instantly think? Man, how can I make more money, right? Well, in my mind, and this is a list I put together, increasing your income means, well, work longer hours, right? Or sell more products. Maybe get a raise at my current job or work overtime, and of course, usually the most common is probably get a second job, right? Or a second part-time job. And guys, we've heard in the past, work from home, right? Earn money from home. And I instantly think, well, that means I have to sell something, right? And what if we're not interested in that? Guys, what if there was a way to make a few hundred to a few $1,000s a month without having to do that? And guys, it's one of the largest industries in the world. And, we used to hear about 10 years ago, people started saying, oh, it's $1 billion industry, this product that they're selling. And that sounded like a lot, right? And they're talking on an annual basis, $1 billion. And, they used to throw that out all the time. Oh, it's a billion, part of $1 billion industry. Well, now what do people say? Oh, it's $1 trillion industry, right? And again, sometimes we can't even get our mind wrapped around that amount of money. But the industry that I'm talking about is actually a $6 trillion industry per day. Now, again, if we had a hard time wrapping our mind around $1 trillion industry in a year, try 6 million per day. To give you an idea of how large that is, to hopefully put it into perspective, the New York Stock Exchange, which is the largest exchange in the world, does 200 billion in an entire day. $6 trillion industry per day, that's 220 billion per hour. Guys, we're talking about the exchange of foreign currency. And every company that works internationally, does anything overseas, a lot of this is actually just done by banks as the value of the dollar in relation to other currencies changes. If you're anything like me, though, as soon as you heard Forex trading or foreign currency trading, you instantly went, oh man, I've heard of this before, right? I've heard of this before. Maybe I dabbled in it myself, and everyone I knew that's tried it, did okay for a while, and then long-term, they ended up losing money doing it. But if you can, erase your past experience or your preconceived notion on Forex trading and think about if you could truly master it. If you became an expert day trader, think about your situation right now. You're at home for the next 30, 60, 90, who knows how long. What if your income wasn't solely reliant upon a job outside, if you had the ability to make good money being at home, like it says on the screen, unlimited earning potential. Set your own schedule. Guys, 24 hours a day, right? Is that this market. Trade as much or as little as you choose. I'm going to introduce you to Sean Lucas in a minute. He's going to talk about how much time it takes to be successful at this. And in fact, they don't want you trading all day long. They want you to trade maybe an hour, hour and a half a day, and trade from anywhere. That's what's great. Not having to go to our office or, be at a certain location, as long as you have internet access. And the bottom one is probably the most impactful, but it's also the truest statement on there. Guys, experience true financial freedom. For years, I've been in the debt space and financial industry for a little over 15 years. And we always talked about financial freedom being living a debt-free life. But guys, it isn't just about that. Unfortunately, we have to earn money as well, right? Or we go back into debt. So experiencing true financial freedom. And when you you're going to hear from Sean Lucas today. And the first few conversations I had with him, things that he said still ring true in my mind. One of the things he said is, Jason, I'll never want for money again, because if he wants something, if he needs something, he trades for it. And he calls it a money tree, right? He's like, hey, if I need a few dollars here and there, I can just reach up and pluck them out of the tree. That's such an incredible concept. And imagine the pressure, the weight being lifted off your shoulders if you had the ability to do that. But if all that's true, right? I put 5 bullet points up there, and some of you might be thinking, well, that's pie in the sky. Those are general terms. If it is so true, why isn't everybody doing it? Everyone I've asked, hey, why wouldn't you day trade? They say 2 reasons. There's 2 reasons I don't trade. Number 1, I don't know how, right? I don't know how. I don't understand it. I'm intimidated by the market. It's something new. And number 2, they don't want to risk their money, right? Cash is king, right? They don't want to risk their money, or they don't have any money to risk. Well, guys, what if we could remove both of those obstacles? So we're super excited. Sean Lucas is actually here with us today. Sean started his career facilitating trades in large firms with high net worth clients, right? He was with Schwab, became an expert in that industry. And these clients would come to Sean and say, hey, listen, we just want you to trade our money, right? And so Sean actually started a hedge fund and managed that for several years. During that time, many of the large financial firms, your Fidelities and Schwabs and TD Ameritrades, hired Sean to write their platforms and their education for their traders and their training. He became a world-renowned trader, and he's received certifications and authored 16 books. He's a keynote speaker all over the world to teach people how to trade in the market. And so it was no surprise when there was a lawsuit between Chinese and US trading firms, and Sean was called as an expert witness. So he flew to China, and to hear him tell the story, you'll hear it in a minute, but he was picked up, in limos and escorts, motorcycles on the side, like you would picture a politician. And he thought he was going to this obviously Class A office space, big trading firm like you would see here. But what he saw when he got there changed his life, guys, and in turn has changed thousands of folks' lives. And they basically took him to a huge warehouse with rows and rows of people on computers, and shoulder to shoulder, rows as deep as you could see, hundreds, if not thousands of young people trading. What this Chinese firm was doing is they would purchase trading platforms from all these different firms, and they would put a couple hundred traders on each platform. They made sure the traders knew nothing about money, the market, trading. All they were doing was following the system. and the top 20% would get to stay, and the bottom 20% or the bottom 80% would be let go. And this company was refining the perfect trading system. And it hit Sean when he was there. Gosh, I can go back home and I can do the exact same thing. Because again, that's what he had done for years previous. Company, and I'll tell you one quick story. I don't mean to divert off the path here, but years ago, about 15 years ago, a product that I was involved with, we were on stage at Get Motivated seminars. I don't know if you remember those. They had Zig Ziglar and Rudy Giuliani and Colin Powell and all these guys speak from stage, and they would be in arenas with 30,000 people. But usually they're there to sell folks, right? So they have the entertaining speakers like your Zig Ziglar, but then they would have a celebrity guru investor. And there was one in particular at the time, and if I said his name, you would know who it was. And he was pitching an investment education package, learn to trade. And guys, this was anywhere from $25,000 to $40,000 for this training and education. And I listened to him from stage and I was blown away. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. And I mean, they would sell thousands of these packages at these huge seminars. Well, come to find out, here we are 15 years later, I meet Sean. He knows that celebrity spokesperson very well. Sean actually wrote the curriculum for that company that was selling that, which is insane. But so again, when Sean had that experience in China, he came back and he developed an incredible trading platform that takes people by the hand and shows them exactly how to trade foreign currency the right way, minimizing risk, maximizing profit. He was able to take people that knew nothing about the market, day trading, how it works, and turn them into people that create a great part-time or full-time income. So guys, his company is called the Apiary Fund. Now, apiary is a beehive. So the whole thing is kind of using the model of a bee. If you read about bees, it's an incredible system, right? The hive supports the bees and the bees support the hive. And it's just this thriving community. So his training system is called the Beeline. This is his education course. It starts out at copper. Inside each level is different things that you have to advance and different lessons that you learn. And you use a trading simulator where you're learning all these systems and actually have to check off each one before you can move on to the next. And so, inside copper is copper 1, copper 2, copper 3, copper 4, then you go to bronze and then to silver and multiple levels inside each level. And then when you finally get to gold and you pass it off, guys, it's typically about a 3-month process. So some of you might go, oh man, I'm looking for something I can learn to trade by Monday, right? Look, you don't learn in 2 days. This is a full education. By the time you get through with this, you actually know how to trade. It's the old adage of give someone a fish or teach them to fish, right? So it's just a complete system. Inside the Beeline, obviously, there's one-on-one trading partner sessions as well with live coaches via webinar. It's all done virtually. The Beeline is, again, the bronze or copper, bronze, silver, gold. Alveo is his trading platform with all the news feeds and analytics, and you can see the trends in the market, and you do all that on a trading simulator with live market conditions. So as you learn a certain skill in the Beeline, you go on the simulator, practice and learn those in the actual market with fake money. Weekly trading rooms. Sean here in a bit is going to have one of his traders that's been with him for a long time. And he said, one of my favorite things is just watching Sean trade in these weekly trading rooms. An investor profile. Guys, of the people that we've put into the Apiary Fund, this is one of people's favorite aspects or is their personality profile, because everybody trades different depending on your personality. Some are more analytical or aggressive. And so Sean's able to cater your training to your personality and trading style. Again, live classes, trading as a business course is offered. You know, Sean will go through and teach you all the tax benefits of becoming a trader. He puts on rallies and boot camps and summit. People fly in from all over the world to see, to trade with Sean and to learn from him. So guys, what was the other reason? So you learn how to trade. You have the best tools on the market from truly the #1 trader in the world. But what's the other reason people don't trade? Money. Right, man, okay, great. I have all the tools I need to trade, but guess what? I don't want to do risk my money. Sean had so much confidence in the system that he created that he didn't expect people to use their own money. This is about 8 years ago, he put $5 million of his own money into a fund and allows the traders that completed the beeline to trade his money and split the profits. So guys, hopefully you understood what I just said. He's going to teach you to trade, and then you trade his money. That was 8 years ago. He started with $5 million in a fund. Now, billions of dollars are traded each month with over 2,000 traders worldwide. They trade money from the fund using Sean's system and software, and then they split the profits. Guys, years ago, being in the financial services industry, we used to sell products, investment products, where people couldn't lose money. They could only gain, right? Imagine a casino. I don't know how many of you are gamblers, but if there was a casino out there that you could sit down at the table and place a bet. If you lost, they gave you your money back. But if you won, you split the profits. How often would you do that? Right? You do it as much as you were allowed to, because you cannot lose. Now, when we talk about, well, how much do I get to trade, right? I get through the beeline and I qualify for a funded account. What does that mean? We're going to talk about some education packages, but basically Sean's going to put $2,000, $5,000, or $10,000 in your account to trade live. Now, one of the questions that Sean gets asked all the time, and I'm sure in the chat, people are going to be asking, well, how much can I make doing it, right? He won't talk about incomes, guys. He's very compliant. There's no income claims, but what he will show is analytics. He can show exactly what percentage traders are earning on a monthly basis. Now, I put this PowerPoint together a few months back. This was done in December. So I'm going to show you the analytics from the month of October. Okay. The month of October, the top trader earned 109% for the month. All right. For the month, not annual. The top 10 traders averaged a 64% return for the month. Now, if you're like me, you're like, well, that's the top. That's the tip of the spear, right? I get that. The 2,000 traders, the fund average was 13.8 for the month. Guys, so it's exciting. I mean, if people follow the system, and how it works is when you get funded, Sean will review your progress on a quarterly basis. And if you're profitable and following his system and minimizing risk and maximizing profit, he will increase the amount of money in your account every quarter. And I just asked him, I said, Sean, how much do you increase it by? And he said, well, it depends on their profitability, but anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 increase per quarter. So guys, we can sit and talk about success stories. And if you go on his website, you can Google it, go online on YouTube and type in Apiary Fund and Sean Lucas. And I mean, just an incredible web presence. But so what I want to do right now, guys, is I'm going to just switch. We're going to introduce Sean to you right now. And, you know, it's incredible that usually when you see something that sounds too good to be true, it usually is, right? but it sure is nice to find something that just sounds amazing, especially in the time and the challenges we're facing right now. Imagine being able to earn money from home. And it is a real thing. He's been doing it for a long time. So guys, what we're going to do is we're going to turn the time over to Sean and Gary Wood. Gary Wood, as we put together a bunch of interview questions, we're going to interview Sean. And Gary, are you there?
I'm here, buddy. Can you hear me okay?
You sure can. All right, Sean, I'm going to hop on. Hey guys, I do want to say one quick thing about Sean. Sean, we didn't think Sean was actually going to be able to make it today. Sean actually went in and had oral surgery yesterday. And so his face is swollen and he's got stitches inside his mouth. And we're just not going to put him on video, okay? Because he just asked not to be. But he's just a trooper. He's in a lot of pain right now, but he still came in for this interview. I'm sitting here with a whole bottle full of Advil next to the computer. And so, Gary, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Good morning, everybody from Lake Tahoe, Nevada. Hope everybody's doing great. Sean, it's a pleasure. Always, I'm sorry you're not feeling well, but we really appreciate more than we can tell you taking the time and pushing through it. Folks, when I met Sean several months ago, he's not just a tremendous businessman and so much with the Forex part, but he's just a great guy, a great person. He's the kind of guy you'd want to hang with. And so we hit it off because we both like to fly fish. So I've learned over the past few months, the only way to really get Sean's attention is to take him fishing. So we've been doing some of that, and we have some of that planned. So Sean, I hope you're doing okay. How's everything else going other than the mouth?
Everything else is great. Having one of the best months of Apiary's history this month, so couldn't be happier about that.
Awesome. Well, I'm happy to talk to you and interview this morning. Folks, we put together a list of questions that we know most of you want to hear the answers to. So we are going to kind of do an interview situation with Sean where we can get him to answer some of the questions we know all of you want. So maybe, Sean, it would be great to start. You just kind of tell us your story and how you got introduced to Forex.
Oh, yeah. So, sometimes in life, you just have one of those experiences that puts you in the right place at the right time. You know what I'm talking about? My life, I seem to constantly be having these little experiences like this. But when I was about 19, just got out of high school, I had an opportunity to head to Budapest, Hungary. This is back in '92. And so many of you know that the Eastern European countries were under Soviet control back in the late 80s, early 90s. And about that time, the wall had come down. And so a lot of these countries were transitioning from a socialist economy to a capitalist economy. And I just happened to be in Hungary during one of these experiences. And I tell the story, and I know many of you have heard it, but because it was one of those pivotal points in my life. But I was walking down to the bank to exchange some money, and as I get close to change from U.S. dollars into Hungarian forint, and as I got close to the bank, I noticed that there was a Mercedes parked outside the bank, and I, in Hungary at the time, to see a Mercedes like that was quite an experience in and of itself, because that Hungary literally had wooden cars, like the body of the cars were made out of wood, and so you would to see a Mercedes parked outside a bank was quite an anomaly. But as I got closer, I noticed there was a guy inside the car, and as I get a little closer, I notice the window rolls down, get a little closer, head pops out, and this guy shouts out the window. He's like, "Hey, Amerikai, Jedi," meaning, "Hey, come here, American." And I was so nervous. I remember being so nervous. And he's like, "Dollar, teshek, Jedi," meaning, give me your money, basically. And I'll never forget, you know, that sinking feeling in your gut, thinking, "Oh, I'm getting robbed," right? So anyway, I gave this guy my money. He reached over into the glove compartment and rattled around in there. And trust me, I've seen all the movies. You know, I know nothing good comes out of that glove compartment. So, but anyway, to my surprise, he brought out a wad of Hungarian money and put it in my hand. And he gave me a business card and he says, "Hey, look, if you're, you know, in Hungarian, he's like, basically, look, if you need to change money, make sure you come and change it with me. I'll give you a much better deal than the bank would." And his name was Chaba, and Chaba, like one of those individuals that significantly changes a person's life. But he taught me basically how, you know, up until that point, I thought the value of a currency was the value of a currency. You know, you have $10 in your bank account, you're worth $10, right? But Chaba taught me that currency values are changing; they're constantly changing. And he taught me that, hey, look, if you really want to create wealth in your life, then you have to understand that you can't leave your money sitting there, that it has to be working for you, that you have to put it into currencies that are going up in value, that you have to move it out of currencies that are going down in value. And yet I think, Gary, I think so many of us just have gotten caught in this complacency that we think that a dollar is worth a dollar, and when in reality, man, a dollar is constantly fluctuating up and down.
Right.
So that's kind of how I got into the industry.
You know, I've heard that story so many times, and we're just very thankful you met Chaba. So,
yeah.
all of us are. So, you know, it's interesting how this is so different. You know, I've been around the Forex kind of market for 15, 16 years now, and I've heard it all about trading bots and hook your account up here and this and that. But, you know, the difference and the uniqueness of this when we first met is so appealing to everyone. So maybe you can tell us about how you really came up with the concept of the apiary fund, allowing people to trade your money. That's really just a differentiating factor here.
Well, I mean, the concept is, the concept's been around a very long time. It doesn't take, you know, a person very long to understand that if you have someone with a skill in managing money, that if you can hire them and make them and have them work for you, then you're better off than trying to do it yourself, right? So that concept's been around. Trading floors have been around, you know, as long as markets have been around. But there was something unique about an experience that I had, you know, back in 2006. I got a phone call from an attorney in Texas. And, you know, when you're managing hundreds of millions of dollars in the market, anytime you get a phone call from an attorney, it's like, oh, you don't want that phone call. So when this attorney calls me up, I'm like, is this Mr. Lucas? I'm like, but anyway, he was one of the nice attorneys. He says, look, Mr. Lucas, I represent a client in China, and there's a lawsuit between the U.S. and the Chinese, these U.S. and these Chinese traders. And he's like, I'm looking for someone who can come into this lawsuit and you know, give me some expert testimony, some expert witness on what the systems these Chinese are trading. And he's like, look, you're going to have to recreate the entire system. Is that something you can do? Could I hand you over? Could I hand you over all of these trades, and you go back and recreate the system, the strategy that they're using to make money? And I was like, yeah, I could easily do that. So anyway, they asked if I'd go to China, and I didn't realize what a big deal this was at the time. I'm just thinking I'm going out to review a bunch of books and kind of look at how this Chinese trading firm is managing their portfolio. But I was surprised when I got there. I mean, there was almost like a presidential escort, limousine, motorcade, by, traveling, whisking me off the plane, traveling over to the trading floor, everything. It was amazing experience. But I was unprepared for what I saw when I got there. Usually a trading floor is you've just got like this high-tech center, lots of rustle bustle, a lot of noise, a lot of screaming, yelling, egos flaring, everything like that. Well, man, it was nothing like that. I walk into this room and there were literally thousands of Chinese traders sitting shoulder to shoulder trading. And they looked to be, they looked like they were probably, in their teens. I'm not a good judge of age that way, but they looked young. And what caught me by surprise is, usually when I sit down with a group of traders like that, they are eager to let me know how much they know, if that makes sense. Traders have a big ego and they try and, talk down, they try and show you how much they know. Well, after just a few interviews with some of these traders, I started realizing that these traders didn't know anything about the markets. Like nothing. They didn't, they knew what was happening is they were given a strategy. So each one of them would be given a strategy. And that's what they hired the US company to do, was to come in and teach these traders a strategy. And then they would sit down and they would execute that strategy just like they would an Xbox game, right? And I was like, they'd teach like this big group, but they would work through everything, and the best traders would stay on the floor and the weakest traders would get kicked off the floor. And so just by working through a huge volume of traders, they would dial in on these guys that were just good at executing what they were taught to do. And I think that thought lingered on my mind. It rested on my mind. And for months and months and years, I could not shake it. The idea that I could, reach out into the world and help someone learn how to trade successfully. I wanted to do more than what the Chinese were taught, because they weren't versatile. They weren't able to manage themselves through any market condition. You need knowledge and you need skill for that. But if I could reach out and give people who don't have an opportunity, what a great idea. What a great thing that would be. I think about my father. My father he's worked in the lumber business. He worked for the Forest Service for his whole life. Never understood anything about money, never, sort of tried to balance a budget every month, but he didn't know how to make money. He didn't know how to preserve money. And I realized what a powerful offer that is. What a powerful thing is if I can take someone who has never had an opportunity and give them that opportunity to make money, to preserve money, to create income, man, we could change the world, like literally. And so that's where the first fruits of the apiary fund came to be, is like I realized, look, I've been in this industry for nearly 20 years. And like Jason was saying, I've worked with, some of the top names in this industry. And I realized, that I'm part of it. I was part of a system, if you will. My job was to make that group, that industry, bigger, stronger, more powerful in the world. And I realized that, man, if I can shift that to the everyday person, Matt, now they have an opportunity to change their lives. Now they have an opportunity to create income. They have an opportunity to develop a skill that they maybe never would have had in their lives before. I don't know if that's what you were looking for, Gary, but that's kind of how I got into this, creating.
It's amazing with the beehive and all that. We'll kind of tie that in at the end here, but it's just it's the coolest thing I've ever heard about that concept. And when we were on the river, I remember you told me, you go, Gary, this is a way. Also, I said, Sean, you're a wonderful guy, and it's obvious you want to help people, but there's got to be a lot in this for you. And when you told me that you can get more of your money working in the market through multiple, thousands and thousands, we've got a couple thousand already that you've had for years. We're going to push this thing to at least 50,000 this year. Imagine how much everybody can do better and how much more of yours you can get in the market by not being the only trader. Because folks, I hit Sean up immediately on the river. Probably know that later, but I said, hey, can I just get you to trade my money? And of course, he's heard that 8 trillion times probably. But when he explained to me the whole situation, it tied together, and I said, wow, what could be better for them and for you to help everybody working like one beehive together? It's just the most amazing concept I've ever heard. A lot of people on, Sean, we have a packed house. There's, multiple people that have got into multiple Forex courses over the years. Several people have gone into many, many different trading courses. And, obviously, none of them give them their money to trade. That's the big one. But, what would you say to everybody today that has been in other classes? And how is yours different? I know because I'm personally in it, but it'd be nice hearing from you. How does your educational training package differ from all the ones that are out there?
Oh, that's a good question. At our last boot camp, so every now and about once a month, we bring traders into our offices here in Utah, and we spend an entire week with them. It's a deep dive. We go from day to night and deep in, and we'll wake up in the middle of the night and do these trading sessions with them, just to give them a real feel for, a real deep dive into how the markets work and how to make money. Well, at one of these boot camps, I just took a survey. How many of you guys have spent, money on your trading or your financial education? And, I'm thinking not very many people would have done that. I was really surprised, the majority of the room raised their hand, and, then I started getting the real McCoy. These guys are saying I spent, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on financial education. And I was like, whoa, that's a lot of money to be spending on this. And I realize that, when people spend this kind of money on their financial education, all they're getting is knowledge. It's someone up there in front of a class telling you this is what a candle is. This is what, this is how price action works. This is what a stock is. This is what, that is. And it's all education focused. Well, folks, we're in an industry where knowledge doesn't do you any good unless you can apply it, right? And I think that's where Apiary Fund is so different from any other financial offer out there, is that we're not about just the education. Yes, that's an essential part. I'm going to stop sharing this presentation. Is that okay? Just want to show real quick. Education is a huge part of what we do. Let's see.
While you're doing that, Sean, I just want to thank you personally again for taking the time and pushing through this. We really appreciate you.
Oh yeah, no, not a problem. Okay, here we go. Education is such an important part of what we do. And it's part of what our traders get. Let's check this out real quick here. Can you see that, Gary?
Yeah, perfect.
So this is just a list of the classes that we offer every week. Check that out. I mean, there's over 20 hours of classes that our traders can get into every week. Now, this is structured in a way that you don't have to take every class, but at different times of your development, you're going to need different information, right? And so at any time, if you're missing a piece, you just come in and you find the class that represents what you're missing and you attend it. And now you've got that information, right? So education, like all the other classes that they offer, or all the other companies out there offer education, that's great. None of them offer this much education, period. But what's even more amazing about what's more different about what we offer is this thing called the beeline right up here. So we take a step beyond teaching you what the market is, and we put you right into the practical, doing it, right? Like I said earlier, nobody makes any money in this industry because of what they know. They have to take what they know and they have to put it into something. They have to apply it, right? They have to develop experience. And ingrained in our program is the ability to develop experience. You see this right here? It says XP. That stands for experience points, just like a game, right? So as you come in and you have to place 100 trades, well, you're going to gain experience by placing those trades. You have to emote tag. You have to record your emotional experience in each of those trades for 25 trades. By learning to recognize the emotions that you're having as you're in a trade gives you experience right here, 850 experience points. So all the other education companies, they'll give you education and that's great, fantastic. You know, I think people spend too much money on that, period.
So the practical application is the key that I found. And plus I talked to so many people and they said, you know, none of the other courses I was in or spent all this fortune on, none of them ever did a psychological evaluation. And, you know, we kind of laugh about mine because I took mine and what it came up with, I go, oh, Sean's not going to like this. It's not going to be good. But then you came back and said, man, you're going to be awesome because you're like, you know, me and you're going to be a great wobbler and all that, you know. And so it was amazing to me how many different trading firms don't find out about you first to help you specifically with your personality, what you need to work on. That to me is a huge differentiating factor. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's the value, right? Because you can't do this on your own without gaining experience, and you either do it on your own or you do it with me, and I've got a way to help you through that process on your own. But I think the biggest differentiator, Gary, is really that they get to trade my money, you know.
There's no question. I talk to people all the time. Well, I was in this class and I said, they give you their money to trade? They say, excuse me? What? It's like unheard of. So, but you know, folks, also think about this for a minute. Sean's going to make sure you're good because you're trading his money, right? So when I thought about that, I go, wow, he's really going to give us the real scoop and really teach us the secrets and all that. You know, going on to another question here, Sean, I know you don't like to talk about actual incomes, but is it realistic because everybody that's on, we want to make money, right? That's the bottom line here. And we can do a lot of great stuff with the more we make, but the concept of what you put together is incredible. But in terms of, let's cut to the chase and talk about money for a minute. If you don't, I know you don't like to talk about actual incomes, but would you say to everybody that it's realistic for someone to make a good part-time or full-time income, maybe learning how to trade and then trading maybe an hour a day, an hour and a half a day or so?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I can talk about myself because I have, you know, I can show you exactly what I do. And now granted, I've been in this for a very long time, but personally, I don't like to spend much more than an hour. And so if you you know, when you come into Apiary Fund and you're starting to chat around, you'll find that most of our traders, you know, follow the same thing. They're at it for maybe an hour or two a day. And their targets, you know, I hesitate, you know, Jason gave you some of the returns, you know, from some of our traders earlier, you know, upwards of, you know, 100+% return. And I hesitate even showing those because we're in such a highly regulated industry. The last thing I want is for any regulators to come stepping on our doorstep and, try and get in the middle of all of this great thing that we have going. So I'm pretty strict about sharing, not sharing, results and claims and stuff like that. But that's why I do these Trader on the Street episodes, right? Because if you go and watch a trading session, I'm sitting down with a one of our trader or some random person off the street.
Or the river.
Yeah, so, or a river. So I go do these little sessions, and then you can see firsthand what we do, right? And all of our traders get to the point where they're watching these week after week after week after week, and you can actually see how we're doing it. You'll see that I lose money through a session, and you'll see that I make a series of trades, trade after trade after trade, and by the end of the session we'll have worked through everything. And usually, we're able to make more in an hour session than most people make in an entire day of work. And I think that's really, if I can't help a person get to that point, Gary, then really I don't.
Exactly.
Why would I be giving them my money
Why would you give their money? It was amazing to me when that happened. When I first met you guys, and you showed me one of the Trader on the Streets. By the way, folks, we've got a huge announcement here in just a few minutes, so make sure you stay on this webinar. We're going to blow your socks off here in a minute about what's going to happen this coming Monday. But it was amazing to me to see that. I can't remember the lady's name or where it was, but I was just looking. She was like an accountant or something. Remember her? Anyway, I watched that video and I said, "You got to be kidding me!" I mean, you could tell it was real, right? She was really real, and you just grabbed her out of the audience and made her more than she made in a day. And so then I grabbed Sean, folks, by the neck, and I said, "You know what? I want to do this. I want you to go with me. Let's go fishing or something and show people you can trade from anywhere. Get on the back of a pickup bed on a river." I didn't think it would be in Idaho with 12 degrees, but we did it anyway. And I was a believer instantly, folks, because he showed me personally. It personally happened to me. And so that was the closer for me. So when you watch enough of these Trader on the Street, you become such a believer, which kind of leads me to the next question. What would you say to people that say, I've tried trading before and I haven't been successful? I think you kind of answered it before, because a lot of that is education and presentation, but no practical application. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Let me just tell it to you straight, Gary. There are people on this planet that are very, very successful traders. You read about them in magazines. They're on the top of Forbes 500 list. These guys are like really good, right? Well, they didn't start out good. They had to go through a process. And what's different about the process that normal everyday people try and go through is they try and do it on their own. Well, that you're destined for failure if you don't have someone that can show you the ropes, right? Because you have to go through the entire gamut of learning experiences. And that means you're going to lose money. That means that you're going to get frustrated. That means that you're going to quit. You're going to be mad at yourself because you quit, and then you're going to try it again, and you're in this vicious loop. But if you look at the professional side of this industry, we create successful traders all the time. All the time. How do we do it? Well, number one, they have a process for teaching. You have to come in, you're a junior analyst. You're not going to be placing trades day one. You're going to be watching, you're going to be making recommendations to a team. You're going to be going through this process where you learn how to develop a successful trading skill. And that's what I've recreated, is basically the way that the professional side of this industry grooms successful traders. And if you look at it, not one of them trades their own money.
Amazing.
You're thinking, well, Why? Why don't they trade their own money? Because you're too emotionally tied to your own money. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
You are destined to fail because you know what it took you to make that money in the first place. And so anything that's going to erode that away, you're just like, it triggers all these emotional responses. So one of the key to training someone is to give them a safe environment where we don't have to tap into that emotional response. Yes, there's emotional responses, but it's much more tempered when you go through this process that I take a person through than if they do it on their own. So yeah, if you try it on your own, chances are you're gonna fail. And I think the world is chock full of people who've got testimonials of failing.
Yeah, that's for sure. And we should have that sometime. Say, here, I tried this and I lost my butt. I tried that and I, you know, and it's on and on. And we understand that, everybody that's on the call here, we know that already. We know that it's not been a very successful track record for most of you that have tried to do this, but this is different. And hopefully you're seeing why. You know, I get people all the time kind of, you know, I talk to them about you and what's going on with the fund, Sean, and they go, well, if he's such a great trader, this sounds too good to be true, first of all, right? Why would this guy give me his money to trade? And I say, well, you think he's going to probably teach you the right stuff? Well, probably, yeah. And if he's so good, why doesn't he just trade his own money? Maybe you can address that one. I know you kind of did, or I kind of did, but that's one I get a lot of. If he's that great, why doesn't he just trade all this money himself? And herein lies that really got me.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I get Matt, and Jason both. You know, they both cornered me with that same comment. You know, and I'm like, look, I know it sounds too good to be true, but look at it like this. Let's say that I have $100 million at play in the market, right? You don't put all of that to work. You put maybe 30-40% of that to work. But that's how you manage risk, is you don't put all your money to work, right? Because if all your eggs are in the market, all your eggs are exposed to risk, you're going to take losses. And so what you learn is that you take only a small portion of your money and you put that at work, right? So for me, you know, I've got this basket of cash that just sits there, you know, and right now interest rates aren't making it up, right? No, I don't know a bank around that's giving you interest, you know, that's worth anything right now, right? So it either sits there and earns like a 0.5% interest or 1/4% interest at a bank, or what if I took a little bit and I gave Gary Wood a chance to trade that? You know what? Now Gary, you know, if Gary's gone through the training and Gary has shown me that he's learned what it takes to make money in the market, then I give Gary some money, and now Gary can go out and put that to work, you know. And then imagine if I do that for, you know, thousands and thousands of people around the world. Now, each one of them are making decisions with that money. And so I have more money at work, right, in the market. So yeah, there's a little bit of self-interest in the entire concept, but that's not a bad thing, especially if you can align your self-interest with the self-interest of someone else, you know, make them better off. That, you know, I think that's about the best relationship you can do, because now the entire group is better off than one single individual.
Absolutely.
So I'm accomplishing something phenomenal, you know, in managing this fund, but each one of you are accomplishing something phenomenal in the process as well. And I think that's about as good an arrangement as you can get.
Absolutely. And if all of you have maybe not seen the movie The Secret, I'd recommend all of you watch that, because you tend to turn out like people you hang out with and how you think. And so if I hang out with Sean, and I'm going to tend to start to be like him, think like him, have expectations like him, partner up with him. One guy the other day asked me that same question. Well, if he's so good, why is he going to loan you his money? I said, because I'm going to pay him more than the bank does. And they said, what? And then I explained it to him. They go, Oh, now I get it. Okay, well, that makes more sense now. So it's just like an amazing, and you just eloquently answered it, Sean, but it's an amazing partnership that, plus it's when you make money and nobody around you does, it's hard to find anybody to play with. That's what I want.
That's right.
Successful.
Who are you going to go fishing with, huh?
The people that come to your boot camp, they're all jacked up, high-fiving. Everybody's excited. They're making money, right? And then, the difference is what I'm saying. So, folks, this is an incredible opportunity for you to partner with, I think, the best trader in the world. Not just the best trader, but the best teacher. Because, it's great that he can trade and he's so good at it, but just to share that knowledge with all of us, to get him up to the level to where he trusts us with his money, folks, there's nothing like this anywhere. So let me jump to the next question. It's funny with the virus and all that. It's kind of bad for general industries and stuff, but our business is rocking because people are now wanting to work from home more. They're being forced to work from home. So how would you say, I had a person the other day ask me, he says, well, is the virus and the economy going to kill Forex trading? And they also timed it with kind of this. They said, how about the timing right now of the market with people stuck at home? Is it a good time or a bad time to get involved with apiary fund and currency trading in general?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the best time to get involved with this would have been, 6 months ago, right? Because now you'd be like hitting your stride, making money while everybody else is, at home, trying to wrestle their kids down and keep sanity in the home. But I mean, look, there's no better time than right now to start to learn this. And look, I'm going to get on a soapbox here for a second because guys, you need this, period. You got to learn this. No one's going to sit there and take care of you for the rest of your lives. The government's stepping in here, and they're going to give you a paycheck for 2 months worth of your wages, right? But guess what? The jobs are gone. Those aren't coming back anytime soon. The whole hope of a V-shaped recovery in our economy right now, yeah, good luck with that. Let me show you a graph real quick here. Check this out. Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
Right here. Look, this is the initial jobless claims, right? This is history from 1970s. The top initial jobless claims, about 750,000. 750, a little less than 500, a little less than 500,000, 750. So in all of history, we've had, jobless claims that are about $750,000 or 750,000 people. Now that's a lot of people until you look at this number right here, 6.6 million jobless claims last week.
Jeez.
That's unheard of. Do you know how we measure this? We measure the health of an economy through a term called GDP. GDP is your gross domestic product. That's how much earnings potential there, or not potential. That's how much an economy is earning. That's the economy's wages, right? And the biggest piece, the biggest contribution to GDP is the job force, right? In a country. It's how many people are employed. Well, look at this, guys. 6.6 million this week. There was 3.3 million last week. That's 10 million people out of jobs in 2 weeks, right? Let me show you another graph right here real quick.
Yeah, I think it's time to learn this. What do you guys think?
Look, this is why I'm saying I want to get on a soapbox here, because I'm going to chastise you a little bit. You need it. Someone needs to kick you in the pants, because you've got to get out and you got to learn a skill like this, because this will always be there. You're not going to lose your job. But check this out. So this is continuing jobless claims, and this was the high in 2005. The high puts us, well, there's a better graph here. Oh, maybe I didn't put it on here. Yeah, I don't think I did. The unemployment during the Great Depression was about 24%. The unemployment here during the 2008 recession was about 18%. So 18% unemployment in 2008, about 24% unemployment in 1929. And right now, economists, if these trends continue, these jobless claims continue, we're looking at a minimum of 30 to 35% unemployment. What that means is that, if you start counting one person has a job, two people have a job, third person doesn't, one, two doesn't, two have, one doesn't. Guys, this gives you the freedom so that it doesn't hurt you. You're not going to get hurt from the ups and downs of the economy. These things happen, not to the extent that it's happening right now, but these things happen. And you really, truly have to have a skill that you can lean on through those hard times. Now, people argue and say, "Hey, look, Sean, what happens if the currencies, what happens if the market goes away?" Well, look, that's the last thing that's going to go away. We may have freezes, we may have stops, but the market is the last thing that's going to go away, because it's the grease, it's the conduit for the entire economic system. So if it was me and I'm looking, where can I spend a little bit of time so that I'm going to have the most security, the most the greatest impact on saving myself financially, the thing I'm going to look at is I'm going to look at trading currencies, right? I know that's counter to what everybody out there says, but that's where I would focus my time. That's why the apiary fund focuses it on currencies. It's not just because we like it, it's because it is the safest, it's the last point, it's the foundation on which everything is built. It's going to be the last thing to go, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Sean, when we first met, I just saw this kind of a grin on your face. And every time I meet you, you have this kind of a grin, like a really fun looking grin. And I could never really figure it out or why you were grinning. And then you told me, you go, "Gary, I don't ever want for money again. I can go on the back of a pickup bed. I can go on a bicycle. I can travel across the country with my family. I can do whatever I want. And I can just open up my laptop and make money, boom, right on the spot." And that's a freedom that all of us want, folks. Imagine not having to depend on anybody to make money. I mean, it's worth fighting for, and it's worth taking the time to go through a class. So a couple last questions. You told me before, Sean, about the benefits, the tax benefits especially, other than the benefit I just told you about. I want that look on my face all the time. Like, I just grin at people when they talk to me and they go, "What are you grinning about?" I go, "I don't ever need for money anymore." "What do you mean?" "See that laptop? I can make money right now. I open it up and I have the skills to make money right now." What freedom is that worth for people? It's just an amazing, amazing concept. But the tax benefits, maybe touch real briefly as we finish up the questions on the tax benefits of becoming a professional trader.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, an hour we don't have enough time in 12 hours to go through all of the benefits that I can provide you. But I think one of those benefits is taxes. If you're going to work hard at making money, you want to be able to keep that money. And if you look at tax law, there's a distinction under tax law that gives traders special tax advantages. It's called trader tax status. It's written right into the IRS code, blah, blah, blah. But it is you get some phenomenal tax advantages, like amazing. I'll never forget, looking at Warren Buffett, the first time I saw Warren Buffett's tax returns. I've been in this industry for a very long time. And I remember sitting down and just taking a hard, close look at Warren Buffett's taxes. And I'm like, how in the world is Warren Buffett getting tax rates that are less than mine? That guy makes like 100 times more money than I make. How is he getting that? Well, after a little digging, the light came on and I started seeing, oh my gosh, you know what? I think the only group of individuals that have a better tax arrangement is probably the clergy, right? I mean, really, they probably have the best tax advantages, and then traders. And so that's a pretty phenomenal statement if you stop and think about it. There are some ways of that trading can help your tax bill all the way around. And the great thing is that you have to qualify for that. They don't just give that status to anybody. You have to literally qualify for it. Well, one of those qualifications is placing trades. You have to literally get in and place trades, and a lot of them. Well, we do that every day here. Like I know traders that qualify for trader tax status day one, in one day, literally at Apiary Fund. So that there's some, we could go in, it's probably 2 days worth of information.
Right. I think people get the point, buddy. It was amazing to me. I didn't know that. I've been around doing business for myself and stuff for 35 years, and around trading and Forex and knowing people and knowing systems. I had never heard of that. So I thought that was pretty amazing. Let's wrap up with the questions. There's so many wonderful stories and examples that, us, like Jason, myself, Matt, we've heard you say. I'll give you a few, and I'd just like you to maybe pick your favorite and talk about it. But there's Augustine in Africa, the road trip across the country with your family on bicycles, the Ford truck you bought. One of my favorites is in Vegas. I texted you, hey, be sure to get your first class ticket for Alaska when we go fishing. And what you did literally in 35 or 40 minutes before you came up, and then showed everybody what you did. But maybe a special memorable trader on the street experience, but maybe pick one of your favorite stories. They're all amazing, but for time's sake, because I want to get to the other stuff we're going to announce here, but maybe pick one of your favorite stories and tell us about an experience that's live practical application. I mean, I've seen it personally myself.
Well, I think one of my favorite stories is obviously Augustine Mumba, but I think I shared that last week, and so I probably won't go into that. But Augustine, basically one of our traders in Africa, he became a highly successful trader inside the Apiary Fund, and eventually bought, a generator for his village, and then now today he trades currency for the Bank of Malawi. So he's come from literally nothing all the way up to now he's taken his the skills that he learned at Apiary Fund, and now he's benefiting his entire country and managing their currency portfolio.
Amazing.
That's a pretty amazing story. But I think one of my, let me just share real quick the story about taking my family. Like, Gary, I can tell you, there are so many skeptics out there. I get the question all the time, can you really do this? Or, you can't, or you can't really do this. This isn't real. I get that all the time. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put that, I'm going to put that all to rest. I'm going to show you that I can do this. And so I have a family of 8 kids, and I came to my wife one morning and I'm like, honey, what would you say if we took a bicycle trip across the country? Right? She's like dumbfounded, drops the cup, she's like, what? What kind of harebrained idea do you have? Is this? And, it took me a few weeks to kind of convince her that this was a good idea. But what I did was I took my family, I took a $25,000 account, and that's a significant number, 25,000, because once you get into a $25,000 account, you can start making some decent money in the market, like for my traders that are in the $25,000 account, I'm expecting good things out of them. I'm confident that they're making money. I'm confident that they're consistent. Yes, they'll take some losses. Everybody does. But I can bank on these people. Does that make sense? So I took a $25,000 account and we started in Seattle, Washington, and we rode our bikes down the coast all the way across the United States, and we ended in Boston. It took us 3.5 months. The only money that I spent on that entire trip was money that I had made from a $25,000 account. So starting in Seattle, working myself across, feeding my family of 8, putting them up in hotels, all of the expenses on the road, all the unexpected expenses on the road. Finally arrived in Boston, Massachusetts, 3.5 months later, and a lot of flat tires. And I had made over $17,000 on that trip, and paid for all of everything, the entire thing. Now I had a film crew follow me, and we were going to do a documentary, and guess what? All the footage got melted. It was one hot day, and we opened up the thing, and all the video footage had just melted, and we were so sad. But it just shows what you can do, right?
That's called freedom, baby.
That is freedom.
Well, Sean, we really appreciate you taking the time today. If you can announce what you're going to do for us on Monday, and then maybe have Jason jump back on and do some testimonials and the packages. But I'm really excited about this next part, folks, because I personally did a trader on the street myself in Boise, Idaho, on a river with Sean in the back of a pickup truck and a filming crew. And Sean wrote me a check for $1,100 and something after about 40 minutes of freezing to death. And so I can tell you from firsthand experience that this is real and that it works. But tell us what we had an idea and you agreed to it. So we're super excited about this.
Yeah. And this is something that I do is every once in a while, I'll just randomly select someone and sit down and do these trading sessions with them. And so what Gary was like, look, would you mind just showing our group? Like we talk about it, but would you mind showing them? Because I think that's like the clincher, right? And I'm like, I'm happy. Of course, I'd be happy to do that. Why don't this Monday, why don't we pick someone? Why don't we pick someone from the group and let's do a trading session? Now you got to get up a little early, got to get up. We're going to do it at 8 a.m. on Monday morning, because that's when the markets are moving, 8 a.m. Mountain Time.
Right.
But we're going to do a little trading session with one of your group, Gary, and see what we can do. The good, the bad, the ugly, right?
Trader on the webinar.
Trader on the webinar. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, we really appreciate you, Sean. We're super excited about you and all of this and Monday. And I think we might have, literally hundreds of record crowd, because people are going to say, boy, this guy's going to actually trade live with somebody on the webinar and give them a check and right on the spot. And I think we're going to pack out the deal. So we got to make sure we can hold all the people. But Jason, my partner, Jason, you did a great job, Jason, on the first part, by the way. But if you could jump back on and maybe have some testimonials of people who are actually in the class real quick, and follow up with with the packages Sean offers. And Sean, thanks, buddy. I'll see you Monday.
You bet. Happy to chat with you today. Thanks, everybody, and look forward to trading with you.
Hey guys, it's Jason again. So we're going to wrap up just by a couple things. Before we go over what entails getting started, I'm looking in the chat. I'm getting text messages from people saying, okay, I get it. It's great. How do I get started? I'm going to share that with you in just a second, because I believe sometimes you hear something and it sounds phenomenal, but a lot of times you just want to hear somebody that's doing it. I want to hear from somebody that's been trading with Sean for a few years, that is trading tens of thousands of dollars of Sean's money. And so I just asked Sean yesterday, I said, would you mind getting somebody on that can just tell us their experience with and your history and kind of how it's been for them? And he said, you bet. So he reached out to a gentleman. Steve, are you there?
I am. I am. Sounds like
Hey,
looks like
Steve,
I'm unmuted.
we,
Hey, how's it
we,
going?
we can hear you, buddy. Thanks for getting on, and we really appreciate you just sharing your experience with us.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and Sean, hey, thanks for reaching out. I'm excited to do this any way I can help you out because obviously I've been helped out so much. Um, I've been with the Apiary Fund for probably about 3 years and been trading full time for about 2.5 years and never traded before at all. And what I mean by full time is I trade every day. Didn't miss a beat. So for about 2.5 years, but before Apiary Fund, never placed a trade. I was one of those, I think earlier on in the call, you're like, hey, how do I do this? Where do I go? I've always been interested, but never had either the time, money, or resources to do it till Apiary Fund came along and said, hey, not only will we teach you, but we'll give you your money. And like most people, I just scratched my head, and I was like, what? You're going to do what? So, awesome. So I trade their money every day. I'm absolutely I just enjoy it. I think, I'm about a $25,000 account now and
Wow,
trading that up. So
that's awesome, Steve. And did you want to say anything?
Yeah, Steve, tell me, if you don't mind, kind of give us a rundown of your day. What does your day look like? What are you shooting for?
It's changed and shifted in the past, because of the virus and the quarantine thing, right? And so I was able to listen to some of the webinar, and I mean, it is so true. I mean, I'm so blessed to have this as an income, right? And so normally on a normal day, when you're not supposed to be staying at home all the time, but on a normal day, what I tend to do and what I've done for a long time is just being consistent. That was the first thing that I think all new traders struggle with, and I was no exception, is just the consistency. I'd have my good days, I have my bad days. And
we're always preaching consistency, aren't we, Steve?
Absolutely.
Like one of the skills that I, it's like built into our mission statement. It's not good enough to just do it one day. We want to do it today, tomorrow, the next day.
Absolutely. And that's where when you have that, I don't know what else to say other than like that awakening or aha moment where you're like, hey, I can do this. And I think Gary was mentioning something about Sean opening up a laptop and always having a smile. And that's kind of how I feel. I mean, in no way am I a trader like Sean, absolutely. But it's like, I know that I can make money even if the world is falling apart. And it seems like it's doing that right now. I just need a computer and an internet connection and I'm good. I typically, personally, I trade for about 1 to 2 hours a day, like Sean was mentioning. Try to hit about 1% and I'm done. My favorite day trading, honestly, Sean, is when I can hit that 1% in like 10 minutes and I'm done trading. I don't like sitting in front of a computer all day long. But I like to be able to have that knowledge that I can at least hit 1% every single day and then move on with my day, So, I mean, truthfully, since I've been home more, I go a little bit more than 1% because I don't have anything else to do. So, but so it's kind of changed a little bit in that regard. But the skill set is there, and I'm just so thankful to Apiary Fund for teaching me how to trade. Honestly.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Steve. Appreciate that.
Steve, it's good to meet you over the webinar, and we sure appreciate your time.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Okay. So guys, we'll wrap up with this. We want to talk about again, okay, I love it. How do I get started? And what Sean has done is he's put together 3 education packages. And this is just great for somebody at all levels, right? There's the trader floor, the desk trader, and the market maker. I'm just going to real quickly go through these packages and show you what each package includes. The trader floor package, guys, it's the education, the beeline, all the benefits that come with it is $19.97. Now, with each one of these packages, there's $97 a month that you continue to pay for all the data and all the resources that you continue to receive. So you pay $19.97, you go through the beeline, and as soon as you graduate from the beeline, you start with $2,000 of Sean's money in your account. So guys, in other words, it basically means your education was basically free, right? You paid $2,000 for the education, your account starts with $2,000. And then what happens is every quarter you get reviewed. If you're profitable, Sean increases that amount. With the Trader Floor education package, you can get up to $20,000 in your account, and you get to keep 40% of the profit. You get 2 live coaching sessions with Sean's professional traders. You get the beeline to funding, the bronze all the way, the copper all the way to gold, the Alveo trading system, which includes the simulator, attend the weekly trading rooms and live classes. You get that investor profile. Guys, that's so crucial to cater the trading towards your style. And then you also get a Traders Summit ticket. Now, a Trader Summit is where people from all over the world fly into Utah for, is it 3 days, Sean? On a summit, 3 days? Yeah, they fly in and trade for 3 days with Sean and his traders. That's included in the Trader Floor. Guys, the next package is the Desk Trader. It's $49.97. As soon as you finish the beeline, you start with a funded account of $5,000. And you can go up to $50,000 if you're a desk trader. You get to keep 50% of the profit. So it's a 10% bonus there. You get 6 live coaching sessions. And what's great about those coaching sessions, you can use them anytime. You can use them during the beeline trading. You can use them while you're learning techniques and skills, or you can use them when you're funded and trading live money. So it includes all the features of the Trader Floor, but you also get that trading as a business course, which Sean was talking about, which is just a huge benefit. You also get a trading rally ticket. Now, these are rallies he does all over the world. You come in and, again, trade with Sean. Is that a 1 day? Are trading rallies 1 day, Sean? Okay. And guys, then the top package is what's called a market maker. It's $99.97. And of course, when you get through the funding, when you get through the beeline, you start with a $10,000 account, and you can go all the way up to a $250,000 account. So guys, you just heard from somebody who's trading already 25 grand. Sean does have traders that have 50,000, 100,000 plus in their account of his money. And on the market maker package, you get to keep 70% of the split. You get all the same benefits as the desk trader. However, you get 12 one-on-one coaching sessions, and you can use those at any time. But this also includes a beeline boot camp. Guys, the boot camp is Sean gets more feedback about his boot camp. It's a 7-day intensive trip to Utah, and it includes room and board. They put you up and you trade. He said midnight trading sessions. They actually give you a funded account when you get here that you trade with Sean and his traders for a full week, learning techniques directly from the man himself, and then you get to keep what you make in that. Now, guys, Sean has been generous enough, and guys, we're going to wrap up real quick. On the market maker package, we want there to be some urgency with you. Guys, I asked Matt and Sean if I should show this, and they both kind of chuckled at it. I got a news, you know how if you subscribe to any news or anything, I just got a news flash, and it said, man's tiny picnic table for squirrels goes viral, prompts people in quarantine to build their own. People are desperate over the next 30, 60, 90 days to find things to keep them busy. You can build tiny picnic tables for squirrels, or you can learn to trade while you're at home. And again, what a productive way to use this time. So Sean said, listen, for people the month of April, if they take advantage of the market maker package, I will give them a extra $2,000 in their funded account. So they'll start with a $12,000 funded account as soon as they finish the beeline. So guys, don't wait. Take advantage of it. No better time. But again, if you're like me, some of you say, hey, listen, I can do that. But there's some of you on here that say, man, I would love to do that, but I don't have the money to get started in this. And so, hey, will you unmute Jeff? So guys, there is some financing options available. And I want to introduce you to a gentleman, and then we'll wrap things up. His name's Jeff Peterson, and he's been in the financial education industry for a long time, and he's sold packages that show people how to invest in real estate and, you know, just really be successful. Well, sometimes those packages are expensive. And so he's become an expert on helping people find money and helping people get financing for those. So Jeff Peterson, are you there?
I think he's got to accept it.
Hey, Jeff, you got to accept. We can't hear you yet. Just accept the panelist invitation.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can, buddy.
Okay. Well, nice to meet everybody. I'm excited to be with you today, and thanks to Jason and Sean for this opportunity. Like Jason says, I've been helping people get financing for different packages over the last 5 to 7 years, and we do a very quick and fast job for you. I mean, a lot of you out there already know how you're going to pay for this, but some of you might not be in that spot, but still have the ability with some good credit, and I want to show you what we could do for you to help you. We can get you lines of credit upwards of $15,000, clear up to $100,000. Now, I want to tell you right up front, these are just your normal everyday credit cards, but they have some special things to them. I mean, it's not like you could go on the internet and maybe get more than 10 to 15,000. With the certain algorithms that we use and everything, we could get you clear up to $100,000 in financing. But there's Citibank, MasterCard, Chase, American Express, Discover, all unsecured credit. Now, we do guarantee that of all this credit that you're going to get, it will be 0% for 12 months, okay? So, and then some of them will be 15, 18, 24 months, but we do guarantee 0% for 12 months. So, you know, if Citibank's going to give you $20,000 to use for a year, I guess my question is, why wouldn't you take advantage of that, earn this skill set from Sean, and change your life? I get a lot of questions on credit score. You know, I have people last week that had a 620 score that got approved, and I had a 700 score that got declined. The 620 score was somebody that had really good credit, actually never missed a payment in their life, but they had maxed out their cards, and so their utilization was high. And so we was able to help them pay that down and solve that. The 700 score that got declined was somebody who was fresh out of bankruptcy. So credit score can go either way, okay? Now, if you find out you're approved, it's a soft credit pull. We'll go over that sheet in a minute, but I will get back to you within 24 hours. I want you to write down my phone number and name right now, and I want to express to everybody that I want you to text me. My name is Jeff Peterson. My phone number is 801-645-0200. Now, I want to tell you, if you do get approved for $50,000 to $100,000, this is a finance company, and they do have fees, and they charge. The charge is $3,495, unless you get approved for something smaller like $15,000, then it's about 10%. But that's a broker fee, like if you bought a house, okay? It's a one-time fee. You don't pay it up front. It comes off your new credit lines, okay? But I don't want anybody shocked that they're charging. But with that being said, I want you to know, as you spend time on the internet, that this is still by far the cheapest money you're going to find, even with their fee, okay? Because all this money is 0%, and it's going to give you leverage for an entire year. So here's how you do it. Take a picture of this on the screen. Everybody pull your cameras out on your phone. Take a picture of this, and I'm just going to walk through it real simply. You're going to go to creditnav.com. This is a very soft pull. It is not a hard pull, but it's going to pull a tri-merge of your credit, and it's going to cost you $1. So you're going to have to enter your name, your phone number, your address, your social, and you're going to have to go through some security questions. It's a 7-day trial. Now, obviously, we're going to cancel this before the 7-day trial, so you don't get charged the $29.99 a month. It's going to ask you to create a password. I want you to use the password on the screen, password 1, capital P. The reason is because that gives me the ability to look at it and talk to you on the phone. Most people never remember the passwords they create, okay? It's gonna ask you for a promo code. This is the promo code you type in, trial 1019, and that'll go directly to the underwriters and me, so you and I can get on a text and go over your personal situation. Now, for some of you might get declined, and I want you to know that's okay, because even if you get declined, I'm still going to work with you over the next 60 to 90 days and put you with a certain person that can repair whatever problems that you have, so we can come back in 60 to 90 days and get you approved. I want you all to remember, this is a journey. You know, you're not going to be wealthy tomorrow, but like Sean says, this is a skill set that's going to last a lifetime. So if you don't have the money that you need today and you would like $50,000 to $100,000 of unsecured credit, go on and do this over the weekend. Text me right after and say, my name's Steve Stone, and I've got it done, and I'll get back to you within 24 hours. Thanks, Jason. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and text me. Jason, back to you.
All right, Jeff, thank you so much. And everybody, thanks for getting on the call today. Now it's literally time for action. So guys, two things moving forward. Number one, there's no better time than to get started now. Purchase a package, whether it's the $2,000 package or the $10,000, whatever you feel is the best fit for you right now. The other thing is Sean is doing a special webinar Monday morning. He told you about it, 8 a.m. Mountain Time. Even if you're not selected as the trader, there's nothing better than to watch him trade and see the power of that. We're getting a lot of questions in the chat about techniques and, you know, how many trades he wins versus losses. Log in and watch. Log in and watch. This will help you make a decision whether it's for you or not. So, guys, listen, we really appreciate you taking an hour and a half on your Saturday to spend some time with us. Sean, thank you so much. Here he is. Between every question, guys, he's sitting here with a rag holding to his mouth. I mean, he's been just such a trooper to be here with us today, and we really appreciate it. So, listen, everybody, have a great weekend. Stay safe, and we will talk to you all Monday morning. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Great job, everybody.